Ready, Heather? Ready to be annoying? Go off.
Like, Heather, I swear I just saw her crack her knuckles. Because the second she sees these mics, she said it's game on.
It's showtime.
It's showtime, baby. She said, I didn't give a fuck about you bitches like hours before. But all of a sudden I need your attention. Like, I need it. I need it or I'll die.
And we're gonna hear that. I can already tell she's gonna be very needy this episode.
So you guys, it's my favorite season. It's fall.
Autumn, if you will.
Yeah. And this time I'm having more of like a spiritual, like, you don't realize how the seasons are so connected to just the meaning of life itself, where like things are meant to die, things are meant to rebirth, and actually fall is my favorite season. So it reminds me like how beautiful things dying can be.
Aww, that's beautiful. It is. Very symbolic. Very symbolic.
That's the circle of life.
Yeah, I'll be the one to say it. Happy Scorpio season. We're starting on this emo note, and that's okay. It's Scorpio season. Let's go, baby.
That's so true. Oh my gosh, I was literally just saying how I literally put the A-Team on I have a playlist for every season, and on my Scorpio season I put the A-Team. Tell me I'm not depressed. I'm just kidding. No, tell me I'm not deep into like Scorpio energy, because I really am going back to my roots of like fucking old music.
I'm like going into old music too, or at least like a whole genre that I stopped listening to, which is really weird. Like when I was going to junior college in Costa Mesa, I was so into like the indie scene, and like lately that's all I've been listening to, and I don't know, it just feels nostalgic. I feel like I'm remembering who I was before I lost myself for a really long time.
Oh yeah, you're like the youth in you.
Yeah,
that child.
Stunted. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about. And honestly, it's not really the relationships, but I do feel like it's because I was in a relationship back to back that like I didn't grow as a person for so long. I mean, I'm sure that I did, but like not in the way that I've, grown in like the past year.
Yes. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because right now I'm at the age like where you were probably in a relationship,
Right.
And
how old are you?
22.
Yes, I was in a relationship.
And so I'm just like, I grow so fast at this point in my life. And I'm not sure if that's a age thing or not, but like at this point in your life, it does make sense why I'm like literally outgrowing every fucking part of myself. Like I'm rebirthing to this better, more sincere version of myself every fucking day. It feels like I can't catch up. Like that's how it feels. It's really exciting for me, because at the end of the day I do feel more fulfilled, but it's also really scary to not feel like I know who I am yet. Like I'm still trying to figure it out, or like I'm still getting familiar with being who I am now. And I fucking love who I am right now. Like I am letting, like, my boundaries are made of steel right now. I don't think I've ever realized my worth and celebrated it so much. Just on my own, just for my own good, to myself. Like, I just, like, I used to, like, not have a self-esteem, right? And to go from, like, not having a self-esteem to, like, thinking I'm actually worthy of living, and I think I have worth just by existing, to, like, actually realizing I'm actually so fucking special. Like, and, like, everyone can do that, because that's the thing, is, like, when you let go of all those fucking expectations of yourself and the ways that you had to survive to cope when you were, like, 16, 17, 18, or 13, and you're letting all that shit go, that's how you realize how special you are, because those are the times, and in my life at least, that I really let the things that were so special about me just die and, like, hide. Because I didn't want to seem different. I didn't want to seem special. I wanted to be seem normal to whatever that meant. Because, you know, we all know that means that feels like safety to us or whatever. But
you mean like those were the ages where you felt like you suppressed the real you in order to fit in?
Yes, exactly. I know what you mean, where like I get in those phases where I will go back to like my old music and it'll be like a really specific point in my life and I just think about that version of myself and I celebrate that person.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a great intro because I feel like we're touching on a lot of the things that are just going to be interwoven in the topics of today. Mm-hmm. So why don't we roll that intro?
Woo!
And we're back.
Yay.
Long time no speak.
I know. I'm so happy to be back.
Me too.
Yeah.
So excited. I did have a little depre moment yesterday, feeling a little overwhelmed. And it was probably because I was just tired physically, but also just like socially depleted.
Mm-hmm.
And I just allowed myself to veg out. And
as you should.
This morning I woke up and I was like, let's record. Like, I feel better. I want to get back into my rhythm and routine.
Yeah, this is why people need to veg out more. No one is rooting more for people to like just do nothing and exist more than me. Like, literally, that's the thing, is like, you'll get a lot further in life if you take that time to just sit and just do nothing and not feel guilty about it. That's part of it, dude. Yeah. That's part of fucking vegging out, is not feeling guilty about doing nothing. Mm-hmm. It's actually, I think lately or on TikTok, I've been seeing that a lot of people have felt that feeling of like, of being so socially depleted. Yeah. Everyone was talking about like, is anyone else feeling really depressed from this weekend? Like you're looking back, everyone's looking back at the weekend and like overthinking, overanalyzing. They kind of feel depressed. They feel really like their energy's gone. And I'm like, yeah, that
I feel that.
Is like
I feel that so much.
Yeah.
Even the overthinking. I thought it was just, my personality and like, being anxious, thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, we've hung out with people like every weekend for like 3 months straight. Mm-hmm. And I haven't felt the way that I felt after this weekend. Like this weekend I was like, what?
Yes.
And it's maybe because we haven't rested, too. Because, like, everything's opening up. People are getting vaxxed. People are socializing again. And I do feel like there's a bit of FOMO. Like, after being locked up for so long, that people are like, we gotta go to everything, And, I mean, at least that's how I've been feeling. And, yeah. It hit its breaking point yesterday. So, I'm just glad to be back.
Yeah. I've actually found that, like, that's a much more universal feeling than we talk about. Like, all these things that you think are just like, oh, it's my anxiety, blah, 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 blah. Which I also just watched a video about, like, how much we talk about it way too much, about our symptoms, our traumas. We romanticize our traumas. We give it so much power. And
identify.
Mm-hmm. And, I totally get the sentiment, and I'm actually trying not to do that so much anymore. But you don't realize how everyone goes through that. Everyone. Where, like, you could be having the best weekend ever, like the best 3 days ever, and then you go home and you feel so empty.
Yeah.
That's a very normal feeling. And it doesn't have to do with anxiety. It doesn't have to do with depression. It's
just being a human being.
Yeah. And the amount of times that I probably call it something, or like the amount of times I misidentify what it is, or like I say it's anxiety or depression, it's like I can't imagine how many times I've done that where like it probably wasn't. It was just me being a human being. Yeah. Which also, there's nothing wrong with my anxiety and depression and blah, 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 blah. I don't feel bad about saying that it's that, but I just know that I'm probably wrong half the time.
Yeah, and I also think it's like thinking about it as a symptom to your mental illness. Every time you're feeling uncomfortable or, upset, it kind of pathologizes it, right? Like it's like something wrong, a problem to be fixed. Whereas if you see it as just like, oh, literally 3 days straight of socializing, drinking, smoking. Like, we are human beings and we are just, tired. And that just means you're a human, and not every day of your life is going to be comfortable and exciting,
Yeah, and if you feel like you had fun that weekend and then the next day you're not feeling so good, like, I think you're overthinking it. I think we're all overthinking it, because you were existing. Like, things were just going, or at least that's what I think. Like, when I have a busy weekend, like, I'm just going with the flow of everything. And then I get anxious about, like, I should have been overthinking the whole weekend. It's like, no, I was just existing. And so then when I get back home, then I save that time for me to overthink, or the fact that I didn't overthink feels wrong. I'm like, where's my overthinking? So I think that's also probably what it is. So I hope people really relate to this, and I'm sure they will, because when I saw everyone on TikTok, like, talking about this feeling, everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't talked about this feeling with anyone, and I didn't realize it was so normal, and I'm like, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah.
Well, you told me something about being psychic, and I'm really interested about that. I fucking love talking about psychic abilities.
Yeah. So, the reason I feel like my psychic abilities are in the forefront of my mind right now, because on this Halloween, we went to, like, this party, and it was really relaxed. It was so nice. It was just, like, outside. There was lights and candles and stuff. It was really cute. It was a queer space. It was really nice people. And there was just this table set up out there that had, like, everything it needed to, like, start a tarot business, basically. It had the table, 2 chairs, the deck, and then a bong, and then candles, like, all around it. And so I was just like, I asked the host, like, are you doing readings? And they're like, oh, no, it's just for, like, if anyone wants to, or if anyone wants to look at the deck or is interested or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. But then our friend who was with us was like, oh, can you do my reading? They were like, do you read people's cards? I'm like, yeah, like, I'll do it right now. So then I sat down with my friend and I did their reading. And then from then on, like, a line formed. Literally. And after that line, like, someone else pulled me aside and asked me again. And they had asked me, like, for my information to, like, hang out and do it. But then they were like, oh, do you have time right now? And I was like, yeah, like, and I really actually feel touched that they also were like, do you have enough energy? Because it's so true. If I'm tapping into my intuition all the time, it uses up so much of my energy. But what's funny is that I actually felt really energized after every reading. Wow. I felt like my intuition was so clear. Like, I was in the flow of it, of, like, getting all these, like, all this information from, like, people's angels and spirit guides. And I just felt very honored that so many people trusted me by letting me into their lives. And people don't have to do that and be very specific about things that are going on, but people were, and I felt very, very honored to have been able to help them. I feel like all of them got a lot of clarity, and that's all I'm here for, in my opinion. That's my purpose, is to, like, help give information from, like, up there, like, the other realm. You know, that's my goal, is to help people have clarity here with that information. So yeah,
it was so funny because we were at this party and I sat down with, like, one of the people who organized it, eating candy, like, taking shots, like, I'm just having a good old time. And I turn over and my sister's, like, doing readings. There's a fucking line. She has an audience. There's, like, literal people just sitting next to her, and she's, like, doing readings, and everybody's like, oh, wow. Like, everyone's so amazed. And I was like, oh my god, I gotta go over there. It was great. It was awesome.
It was so great. And it was so great, and all my friends were cheering me on, being like, yeah, Val! Like, you know, I was a hot commodity that night. It was great. Everyone was so fucking sweet, and it felt like a safe space because, yeah, like, there was an audience, and people were asking, like, can I listen? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And then, obviously, like, the other person had to give permission as well, and they did. Mm-hmm. Everyone was like, who I was doing the reading for was like, oh yeah, you can sit and listen. So they felt just safe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was great.
It was such a great group of people that day. Like,
it really was.
I didn't get enough Instagram names. I didn't follow many people on Instagram, but I hope we see them again. We probably will.
I think so. And that night really fucking pushed me to focus on my intuition. And speaking of intuition, before the party, you and I had talked about not going. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to go because we just didn't feel like it. We didn't feel like it. And logically, I was just thinking, like, I'm tired. I don't feel like socializing that much. I'm whatever. But then something in me had told me to go. I also read some cards. But something in me told me, like, let's check. Maybe we should go. And so I did. I was like, okay, maybe we should. And then we did. And then it ended up being, like, the best night. So speaking of intuition.
The dish with intuition.
Yeah. I think I know I've been psychic since I was little. I just didn't realize what it was. I've always just known shit. And not necessarily predicting the future from a young age. That hasn't developed until, like, recently. But I would always be able to read people's energy. I could tell if, like, I could trust someone or not trust someone. And then when I was, like, 15 or whatever, I remember you had some friends that I didn't like, and I told you.
Oh, wow.
For the most part, people don't believe me because I'm making a bold statement over seemingly nothing, but I know what I feel. I know for some reason, like, feelings will come up about people that just feel like truth to me. It just feels like the truth. If I feel like this person has bad intentions, it just feels like the truth to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you've been right many, many times. Like, I've been a witness to the fact that... And I'll fight you on it. Like, I'll be like, no, I don't think so. Like, let's give them a chance. And then next thing you know, you're right. You were right.
They always end up proving me right. That's why I always let it go. As soon as I say it, I let it go. And I'm not there to prove anything to anyone. I'm there to say something so that everyone remembers when we all when some shit happens, you know?
Yeah. You do that when we watch The Bachelorette. It's pretty funny.
Hell yeah, baby. Oh yeah, I don't even need to meet you necessarily. I just need to, like, look at a photo of you.
Oh my
god. Or look at, like, a video of you. Like, I just need to look at you.
Seeing just a picture, that's, like, the most psychic shit I've ever heard. I think also, like, in The Bachelorette, the introduction portion where they come and meet the Bachelorette for the first time, it's, like, a really good indication of who someone is, because even if they're not being authentic, that in and of itself tells you a lot. Tells you all you need to know.
Fuck yeah. It's yeah, like, it's not necessarily... It's just, like, I can tell this person has a mask on or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's the general feeling. Right. And I don't mean, like, people with, like, good intentions like us. Like, sometimes we put on a mask of, like, oh, I'm not feeling too great, but I'm gonna try my best either way. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people whose identity is a mask. Yeah, that's what I mean. Scary. Like, they're not real. Like, they're not real people. Like, what they're showing you ain't real.
Oh my god.
It is scary. And yes, I do that a lot with The Bachelorette. I can just tell. And there was one that from the first night, they got the first rose. And I was like, this one's the one that, like, is gonna fucking crush her. Like, I just know it. Greg. Like, I don't, yeah. Their name is Greg.
If you guys watch it, you know exactly who the fuck Greg is.
Fuck yeah, fuck Greg.
That motherfucker.
Fuck Greg. And we love Katie. So, yeah, that season.
But yeah, let's talk about that because that was interesting, honestly. Because when he first came out, I was like, oh, he's sweet, he's cute, and, like, they look good together, and I feel like they have chemistry and all this stuff. And you're like, yeah, but it's bullshit. Like, I don't even remember exactly what you said, but you're like, no.
Yeah, I just had to put my 2 cents in there, like, I don't think so.
And I fought you. I was like, no, I think he's just sensitive and nervous and blah, blah. Well, this motherfucker was, like, gaslighting Katie by the end of it. It was
very abusive. Horrible. And it was, I just want to make it clear, it was till the very end. This motherfucker had me in the first half. Like, to the point where I almost started believing them. I almost, like, they didn't let go of their mask till the fucking very, very end. And that's why when I first saw them, I knew this motherfucker's going to really hurt her in some way. And that's how they did it. They waited till the very end to fucking show who they really were.
Yeah.
So, continue about the gaslighting, because...
Oh, yeah, I mean, that is a good... Well, if you haven't seen The Bachelorette or that season or whatever, Craig. Wait, is it Craig or Greg?
It's Greg. We don't know at this point.
Is it Chad? Is it
Clayton? Oh my god. Yes, you knew I was going to say that. Yeah, that's our new favorite white boy name is Clayton.
Clayton.
Yeah. That's a good one. Where did they come up with that one?
Oh my god. So Greg got to the final 3, and usually the final 3 it is like, well, the final 3 is the most important and probably the hardest elimination, because they get to meet your family and you get to meet their family. Katie met Greg's family and everything went well until Greg pulled her aside and was like, just tell me if... Basically, he wanted her to tell him that she was going to choose him at the end. But this is a show on ABC, you know? Katie can't just say, like, yeah, I'm going to choose you, and these other 2 guys are fucked, you know? Like, there's 2 more episodes left, my guy. Like, relax. Mm-hmm. But he was trying to force her, and she was basically telling him to just wait. And he starts telling her, like, see, I can't even remember the fucking bullshit that was coming out of his mouth.
I think I can remember. They said something like, when I said I love you, because that's the thing is, Greg had said I love you for the first time after the family came, and Katie didn't say it back because technically, like, they're not supposed to, or, like, for the most part, they wait till the very, very, very end to say I love you back, and then that's the person they choose. Which fucking makes sense to me, because if you tell multiple people, which that has happened with the Bachelors, because men are fucking idiots, they will tell multiple people, like, I love you, and then it just is so bad, so heartbreaking. So she was waiting to tell him, and he was like, your reaction to saying I love you, like, meh, 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 meh. Like, he was basically upset that she didn't give the reaction he wanted, right. Which is so fucking controlling. Yeah. That's essentially what he was saying. Like, he was literally almost using those words. He was saying, like, you didn't give the reaction I wanted. Yeah. He was saying that. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, this motherfucker, like, is so fucking controlling. And that's how you know their partner is just a side piece, or like a background character to them.
Stop it. Heather. No.
Heather, come here.
She's getting so hyper.
I'd love to put music over this. Heavy.
Yeah, I think, you know, gaslighting in general is a very misunderstood concept because it's a very confusing and abstract thing to imagine, especially if you're not a manipulative person.
Yes. Yes. Heck yes.
I watched a YouTube video recently. It's a short film on YouTube about gaslighting, and it just basically shows, like, from the beginning of a relationship towards the end, like, how someone can start to make you question your reality. And it's just wild because it can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Like, even just when someone is crying and you tell them, like, that's not even a reason to cry, that is gaslighting. Honestly, I feel like I've done that before, you know? And that's why, like, that video really hit me, because I was like, oh, like, I imagine it being, like, this huge, sinister plot, but it can be really, really insidious, you know? And it made me feel sad, like, for all my exes that I've ever invalidated in that way. It's horrible, you know? It makes me feel ashamed. But it really also was good to see it and just be aware of that stuff for when, you know, I start to seriously date people again. I mean, I'm dating now, but when I'm serious about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that people can hide gaslighting. It's, like, more normal than you'd think.
Yeah.
And even just understanding what gaslighting means opens up your eyes to a lot of the ways we just are as human beings, basically.
Yeah.
It really gives a lot of clarity if you break it down as to, like, why people do it, how people do it. It reminds you how much people want control, because that's what you're doing. You're trying to, like, control a situation or a person. It's just, it's really exactly ugly.
That's exactly what it is. You're trying to control the way they're behaving.
Yes.
Because you're making them feel ashamed by their natural reaction or response that they're having.
I think everyone should look into that because even if you don't think you came from an abusive household or whatever, it's just like a thing that can happen between your friends that you don't even realize is happening, whatever. It's a big key to, like, if you feel like you struggle with relationships. Gaslighting is just such a subtle way for people to control you. So I would really look into it. That, and I'm just putting it in there because I feel like understanding gaslighting and understanding misogyny actually saved my life and literally led me to like the path of success where I am now. Those two things were like huge keys to like opening up my mind. I think misogyny though was even bigger. Like, wow. Yeah.
That's how people break down your self-esteem, because they make you question your reality, and then you just start to mold your reality into what they say.
Yeah. It's fucking terrible. It's disgusting. And oh my God, when you see people do it, it's in such subtle ways that it's like eerie. It's so eerie how hidden it is. Yeah. Oh my God. Ugh. But that's why, honestly, I watch shows like The Bachelorette and just reality television in general, because you can get so many perspectives very fast. And I think, especially with something like relationships, like not necessarily romantic, but just a relationship, it's really interesting to see the subtle ways all these types of men will go about it and gaslight you. You know, like the gaslighters always end up coming out. We always end up finding them. You can't hide on ABC.
And that's just a great segue, honestly, because shut up. I need to focus. That's a good segue, just like learning what red flags are. I knew it was gonna come out. The grandma was gonna come out.
How do you turn it off? There's off button.
Take out the batteries. That's a good segue of like looking for red flags, or knowing how to recognize certain red flags, especially when you're like dating or are interested in seeing people or whatever, which, you know, that's just like, let's just start there, because I don't even know what the fuck I want. I don't know. And that's like, I'm a Libra, okay? So like the fact that I can't make a decision between one thing or the other, it just shows like how difficult it is for me to figure out what the fuck I want in a relationship, because it's such a complex decision, you know. And I have friends that are all over the spectrum. Like I have friends who are partnered, who have an open relationship, who date other people, but they have like their one partner. And I have like polyamorous friends who just have like multiple partners. And then I have people who are just dating, like literally just being casual. And then I have friends who are monogamous, you know, and I was monogamous up until my last relationship. And like just being around people who are polyamorous, it's like so beautiful to me, like to see how people can love another person, even romantically, and still only want their happiness, to the point where they don't need to control their sexual autonomy, or their autonomy in general. Because honestly, that's what monogamy meant for me in all of my monogamous relationships, you know? Like every boyfriend or girlfriend that I've had, once we got serious, it's like we do everything together. And then you just start to... And maybe that's just like an unhealthy way of doing monogamy. Like maybe I was just doing it wrong. And
sounds like codependency.
Mental illness.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a way to be monogamous and still be a person. A person. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, I've never seen it. Like in our family, I've never seen that.
You're gonna see it with my next person, because there's no way. I went to that extreme too. Like the only relationship I've had, the only serious relationship I've had, went to that extreme as well.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And there's and literally I there's no way, mama. No way. Because as a Gemini, how was I doing that? I need so much independence, you know?
Yeah. And that's probably why you got so depressed. And that's probably why I got so depressed.
Yes.
We're both air signs. We both need our individuality, our own time.
Air cannot be controlled. Air cannot be controlled or contained.
Yeah.
No, yeah. And that's why you're right. It was so fucking bad. And it just sucks. Like codependency was the one way we were taught to have a relationship with a significant other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, look at us breaking generational trauma.
And yeah, see, I'm trying very hard. But going back to me being a Libra and a Cancer moon, I really crave that type of connection. Like the lovey-dovey, cheesy, like I live for that shit.
Like the lovey-dovey, cheesy gordita crunch wrap supreme. Yeah.
Well, it's been very interesting to try to put these like new ideas into like who I even swipe right for and stuff like that, because you can learn a lot about someone just on what they choose to put on their bio, you know?
Heck yeah.
So like I get it when people are like, I don't do online dating. Like I totally get it. But I feel like I could get a pretty good read. Excuse me. Heathy does not like online dating. I get it. You had a bad experience, but that doesn't mean everybody else Tinder. Will. Heather. Shh. Stop, Heather. Come here. We knew this would happen. We told you guys. She was calm before this. She was fine before this. But yeah, I feel like I could get a pretty good read on people based on what they choose to write about themselves and like even the pictures that they choose to post about themselves. And it's not their physical appearance itself, you know, but it's like some, especially on Tinder, because on Tinder is where like I kind of just reserve it for like men just because it's easier to find men on there. And then I have another app for women called Her. And so like on Tinder, especially going back to men being stupid, they'll post like a picture of like a group of 7 people and it's like, what is this? Like, you know, it's just, and that's like their first picture that they put up. Like that's the first thing they put up, or like just a picture of their chest.
No.
Yes.
Tinder?
Yes.
Men are idiots. This is why I'm not on Tinder. Ever.
It's so horrible. Or like they'll have pictures and then they won't have a bio at all. Like, who reads these? I was talking to my friend, Elena, and we were just both, like, laughing about how, like, we do, motherfucker. We read them.
Just tell us you can't read, Clayton.
Just tell us you don't know how to write.
Yeah. Just tell us you're illiterate. Yeah. That makes more sense to me than who reads these? On a dating app?
That's
who
all
the heck reads these? That's all you do. That's all you do.
The only thing I have.
Yeah.
To make a decision. I'm supposed to just take a leap of faith.
I'm supposed to trust your ass? I'm supposed to trust your stupid who reads these bios ass?
And it's always
Shut the fuck up.
It's always the Claytons, you know, that wear like the Vans baseball caps and shit. And really, it's just like, oh my god, bro. Like, I need to know more.
Yeah.
This doesn't say much. This whole thing doesn't tell me much. So,
what else do I have to know other than you have big tits? What else is there to know? That's how men's brains work.
That's probably why I don't get enough men on there. Other than the fact that I look super masked now that I have my head shaved. And I love it. I live for it. Because then the people who do match with me, I'm like, work.
Are gay as fuck.
Exactly. I'm like, let me tell you something. Sit down. You're gay.
Call them out. I want names. I'm just kidding.
Everyone's gay. That's a thing. Everyone's a tiny bit gay, at least.
That's my theory.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, because all these straight people are mad.
Like, why are you so mad? Why are you thinking about gay people so much?
Yeah.
Why are you thinking about gay sex so much?
Exactly. Damn.
That's hilarious. So yeah, I'm just flip-flopping around. Like, do I want to be polyamorous or do I want to be monogamous? And like, who fucking knows? And then, do I even want to involve someone in the mess that I'm in right now? Like, which is, I'm just trying to figure out who I am and what I'm doing, you know? I've also decided that I can't do casual sex because, well, for many reasons, but recently I watched a video by, I think her YouTube channel is called Crappy Childhood Fairy, and she talks a lot about childhood PTSD or CPTSD, and she made a video about casual sex, and I watched it and I was like, oh my god, no wonder. Any time that I've ever done it, which probably twice, I've probably done it twice in my entire life.
Yeah,
I've always felt like shit after. Or those 2 times I felt like shit after. And I think it's because, she explained a lot of it because, the emotional trauma that we've gone through is just not built for that type of connection with someone. We need to build trust, and there's no trust at all when you do that. And I wish I could.
You end up with a UTI, bitch. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
No, I applaud people who can do it. Like, yeah, like, it's fun, whatever. But I just feel like I always end up feeling really shitty after. And I guess just overthinking it, feeling anxious, feeling insecure, reading into everything. But yeah, anyways.
No, I second that. Well, okay, no. I don't second the overthinking. I think I process it differently, but I second that it's not for me either. Mm-hmm. Like, the same reason. Like, I just think I need to trust someone, and my childhood has not allowed me to, like, be able to be open like that. Mm-hmm. And the one time I did do it, I don't regret it at all. Like, I had so much fun. Mm-hmm. But I did realize, like, oh, I get attached, you know? And then I don't like that. I don't think that's fair to them or me. Right. And so I don't like it and whatever. But I had a great time. And, you know, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I did trust them. I do feel like I can trust people. Like, it takes a very, very particular person, right? But I do think I could trust them, and I did trust them. So it was fine. It's just, like, kind of the feeling after I have where I'm like, like, I feel like, yeah, it's just, like, it's just a weird thing also for me to just, like, it's very sacred to me, and it's something that's meant for me and someone really, really, really special, and that's kind of hard to find. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
right. I feel the same way. Like, I think I'm generally in a posture of trust when it comes to other people. Like, I believe most people are good. I believe people are inherently good. And I think people just get jaded or hurt by life. So I feel that. And I feel like that's why I'm so confident when it comes to, like, dating and maybe having casual sex, whatever. Like, I'm comfortable going through with it. Like, I'm never uncomfortable in the moment when it's happening. Like, I'm having fun. It's just after. And I think it's the attachment thing, too. Yes. And just, like, I think in general, intimacy is so foreign when you grew up in a house where everything was very shallow and very emotionally vacant. And also vulnerability when you grew up, like, with adults taking advantage of your vulnerability, you know? It's just, like, I feel like it just triggers so much.
Yes. I agree with that a lot, because it's the feeling of, like, this is someone I should trust, but I don't. Mm-hmm. That feeling that we have with our parents. Yes. Like, I don't trust my parent. Period. But I'm supposed to. And I'm, like, almost forced to. Because I have to. And so if you go through with sex like that, casual sex, you have to trust them. Mm-hmm. And then you do. But then you have, like, this trigger of, like, I'm supposed to trust them, but I don't. Yeah. Because the fucking one person you're supposed to fucking trust in your whole fucking life, you couldn't.
So maybe that feeling of afterwards is, like, oh, they've seen a part of me that is very, like, intimate. Like, how are they going to use it to hurt me? Like, I wonder if that's what's happening in our head. Which is ironic, because I feel like we use those thoughts to hurt ourselves, you know? Heavy agrees.
What is going on? Are you working with Lindsay? Yeah, I think that's what it could be. I don't know, it's interesting. I think it has to do with the person for me. Like, it just has to be the right person for casual stuff. I have to feel like I can trust you is really just it. Mm-hmm. Because that's how you move forward with intimacy, is just, you just trust the person. So I agree. Like, we have an interesting attachment style. I don't think it's something we shouldn't work towards or work through if we really want it, you know? Right. Because if you want it, those issues are still always going to be there. So just work through it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm really enticed by the idea of having, like, a friend with benefit situation. But I'm so terrified that I'm gonna fuck it up. You know what I mean? So I'm not there yet. At least we know that. But yeah, I would love to work through things in order to get there one day, you know? I feel like I've had the opportunity to go that route, and I feel like I'm too scared to try it, you know? Especially when it's someone you really care deeply for. It's really scary to, like, put all of that on the line, you know?
Definitely. I hate the feeling that someone's just using me for my body. Yeah. Fucking hate that.
I hate that too.
I hate that. 'Cause, like, go find bodies then, bitch. Go to Tinder. Not me, though. You know? Excuse me. But no, seriously, like, For me also, I realized that like with sex, I have to feel emotionally invested to care about sex, and I have to feel intellectually stimulated. And it's both or nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, I won't have sex with you if I don't think you stimulate me and that you care about me. Yeah. Men find it so fucking hard to do those things. But when you find those special people or that special person, it doesn't have to be a man because I'm queer. But yeah, it's like that. I think that's why it's so icky to me to think that someone is just using me for my body, because I'm like, go do that then, because I'm here for something different, like just a little bit different. Yeah. What I need is a little bit different, basically.
That's a great point, and that's why I do take bios seriously, because I'm constantly taking them because I don't want to mislead anybody, and I also want to be very clear about what I want, which is really hard for me. But like going on Tinder, if you don't go in there saying exactly what you want, or go in there knowing what you're looking for, you're only gonna bump into people who want to use you for your body. You know what I mean? And it's just a waste of fucking time.
What a great episode. I feel like we really got into a lot of just like the running themes and lessons we've been learning. Yeah. And we have so much more. We've been learning. We are so excited to be back. I miss this a lot. So I appreciate anyone who's listening right now. Thank you so much. I know we have a little community out there, so thank you for listening to us right now.
Thank you so much for joining us, for supporting, for sharing. We love y'all.
I love you guys so much. So much.
It was a really nice chat. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.